Associate Professor of the Computer Science Department of Swami Vivekananda Institute of Technology. Today I am going to give a lecture on this introduction to function, which is there in our course, in MACOUT course, Programming for Problem Solving for second semester. So going to function, suppose what is function? In today's lecture I am going to describe why we will use function, what are the benefits of using function, how the function is written, and what is the working principle of a function. So about the basic of function. So see here, function is basically a set of statements that takes input, perform some computation and produce an output. So before coming to the definition, if there is a problem, say you are given a problem of, say you have to find the sum of two numbers. Okay, now what you will do, you will just calculate the sum. You will just take two variables, and inside those two variables you will assign some value. After that you will calculate the sum and will print the result. Now see, if the number of parameters are more, say here I am giving two parameters, say x and y. If the parameters are more, say you have to add two numbers, say 50 times. So how will you do that? You will be using 50 variables for assigning the variables. No, we will use function to reduce the code. So see here, a function is basically a set of statements that takes input, perform some computation and produce an output. Now what is the syntax of a function? A function must have a return type, then function name, then set of inputs. Now what does this mean actually? The type of the output returned by the function is called the return type. That means whatever the type, it can be integer, it can be character, it can be void, it can be float, anything. So that is called the return type of a function. Now this is function name, that means the name of the function. Whatever the name you are giving to the function name is called the name of the function. And the set of inputs. Now these includes the input or parameter which you provide to the function. These are called set of inputs. Now what is the use of a function? There are two basic important reasons for why you use a function. One is the reusability and the second one is abstraction. Now what is reusability? As I have told you earlier, say you have to add two numbers 100 times. Say you have to add two numbers with different value 100 times. What you will do? You will simply write the addition code. That means the logic used for addition of two numbers. The code you have to write that, and after writing that code you have to pass the different variables as parameter inside the function. So once the function is defined, it can be reused over and over again. That means once you have defined the function, it can be reused over and over again. That means whatever the requirement of your program, you can change it accordingly. Next is the abstraction. If you are using a function in your program, then you don't have to worry about how it works. This is called the abstraction. That means you don't have to worry about how the working principle of the function is. You can simply copy that function and you can paste it in your program and it will do its work. So for example, the scanf function. So in the next slide, let's demonstrate the use of a function. So see here, there is a piece of code. It is actually finding the area of a rectangle. Okay, so in area of rectangle, what we are doing? So this is the function name. Here I am using two parameters. That means since we are going to find the area of a rectangle, we have to know the length and breadth of that particular rectangle, right? So that should be passed as an argument or parameter inside this function. Now here we are declaring a variable called area. This variable will store the product of length and breadth, and after storing that value will be returned to the function area of rect, and it has return type as integer, so it is area has been declared as integer because we are returning an integer value. Now see, from the main function we have initialized two values, that is L and B. L represent the length and B represent the breadth. Now what we are doing, after assignment of this value in L and B respectively, what we are doing, we are passing this value, that means L is equal to 10 and B is equal to 4 in the function area of rectangle. See here, area of rectangle. Here what we have written? We have written area of rectangle is percentage D, area of rect, that this is the function name. After that function name, we have passed the variables L and B. So here we are passing the parameters. Okay. Now L will receive the value 10 and B will receive the value 4. That means length is equal to 10 and breadth is equal to 4. Now it will calculate, since this function has been called, it will go, the compiler will go here and it will calculate the area. So 10 into 4, that is 40. This 40 will be returned to the function area of rect. Okay, so see the output here. Area of rectangle is 40. So this is how you are using the code. Now suppose I want to reuse this code with different argument or different value of parameters. What I can do? So let's go to the next example. See here, the same piece of code I have written here, but see here, I have initialized L with 10 and B with 4, right? So it will calculate the area of that particular rectangle having length 10 and breadth 4. That means 40 will be calculated. Now see here, in the next line, L is equal to 20 and B is equal to 10. That means again we are assigning some value in L and B. That means we are reinitializing the value of L and the value of B. And again we are calling that function area of rectangle. Area of rectangle L comma B. That means we are passing again this value. So these L and B is having the value 10 and 4, and these L and B is having the value 20 and 10. So basically we are calling the function multiple time, right? See here, we are calling the function multiple time. We have written a piece of code, we have defined the function, what is the working principle of the function, and we are calling that particular function multiple time. Okay, as I had discussed earlier, that a function can be reused over and over again. So see, what will be the output here? Whenever this area of rectangle is getting called, it will print 10 into 4, that is 40. And whenever this area of rectangle is getting called, it will print 20 into 10, that is 200. Is it clear? So see the output. If you write this code in your compiler, you can see that there will be two outputs. The first output will be this, that means area of rectangle is 40, and the second output is area of rectangle is 200, that means 20 into 50.